What is negative medical evidence, Combat Craig? I throw these into 3 different categories. The first type of negative medical evidence I want to talk about is no medical evidence whatsoever. You didn't understand the VA claims process, so you just filed the claim, listened to your VSO, threw a bunch of shit up against the wall, and you didn't have any medical evidence proving it. When you get your decision letter, it'll tell you which evidence was used as positive medical evidence. They'll say something like, we see that you have a disability, or we acknowledge that you have a disability. And they'll say a few nice things, and they'll basically tell you, but it didn't help you and you're denied. In that situation, it could be either the diagnosis or the nexus. So you need to have medical evidence to back up your medical claim for disability. So if you ain't got none, that falls into the none category. So that's the first type of negative medical evidence that might be hurting your claim. The second type of negative medical evidence that might be hurting your claim, I bonked into the microphone there, VA doctors downplaying your symptoms. So you've been listening to the videos, getting a feel for what's going on, and you're meeting resistance with VA doctors. They're not writing nexus letters. They don't really seem to be on your side at all. You know what I mean? They're just not really helping. And then you go to My Healthy Vet and you start downloading your records and you're like, shit, this is completely useless. I went in and said my symptoms were like this, or I was hoping for a diagnosis of this, or I was hoping he would link the nexus like this. And it's just a bunch of notes that don't help you at all. If you're interested in learning more about the VA claims process, the way I see it, check out my boot camp, Combat Craig's Boot Camp. Yeehaw! Pew, pew. CombatCraig.com. I would consider this negative medical evidence. It's better than absolutely nothing, but it doesn't really help you. It doesn't spell out the severity of your symptoms because the doctor was sitting there in the corner beating off, not paying attention to you. Or he was transcribing stuff and just, oh yeah, he's just basically full of shit. So when you run into this kind of negative medical evidence, you need to correct it. So if your doctor is not on board and you can't get his attention and you can't get him to pay attention to you or whatever, get another doctor. If you can't do this at the VA, then get a private doctor. You need to have a doctor on board with you to some degree, at least agreeing that you have some kind of symptoms, because symptoms are one of the key factors in medical evidence. Diagnosis, symptoms, and the nexus. So if what you're saying to a doctor isn't giving you one of those 3 things, that might be not helping you with your claim. The third kind of negative medical evidence is going to come from your C&P exam. Depending on how you proved up your claim, you're going to a C&P exam. You can pretty much take that to the bank. So you go there, you either have a bad C&P examiner, which you have no control over, or he doesn't agree with you. I mean, remember, these guys are contracted by the VA, so they work for them, so they're not your friend. So if you get a C&P examiner that doesn't agree with your claim and your disability and how it's service connected, the nexus, any of that kind of stuff, going to say something like, yeah, I see a disability or a problem here, but it's less likely than not caused by active duty service or aggravated by something that's already service connected. That's the third kind of negative medical evidence. And we need to address every piece of negative medical evidence if we want to win our claims. If you fall into bucket number 1, which is no negative medical evidence at all because you ain't got none, get some. Get something in a medical record. It needs to exist in a medical record from a medical professional. Your personal statement and your personal story, there's a time and a place for that, but you need medical evidence. So get some. If you have a doctor that's not cooperating with you or doesn't give a shit about you, go get another doctor. You're wasting your time dealing with a shitty VA doctor that's not helping you. They're not helping you with a diagnosis. They're not helping you document the severity of your symptoms, and they're certainly not helping you with the nexus. They're literally worthless when it comes to medical evidence for your VA claim. Go get another doctor. Oh, well, if I go to a private doctor, I'm going to have to pay for it. Guess what? This is a pay-to-play game. If you have to pay, then you have to pay. Is that pay-to-play? Does that make sense? Doesn't really matter. If you have to pay to play, then you have to pay to play. I don't know what to tell you. You're looking for financial compensation. This is an investment in your future, because you're going to get tax-free money for the rest of your life. Come up with $500 and go find a doctor and pay him to give you an honest look at what your condition is. On a CNP exam, if one doesn't go your way, the best way to deal with that is to, again, go to a private doctor and have him refute what the CNP examiner says. This is common practice stuff here. I know it seems weird. Well, the doctor said that I'm not this, so that must be it. That's not how it works. Social Security, workers' comp, personal injury, like when you got in a car accident. Usually you have lawyers arguing this stuff. You march up with your medical evidence that says you're all fucked up, and then you go to their doctor, and he's like, oh, the guy's fine. So I know this may seem weird, but this is very commonplace in America. It happens every day, all over the place. I don't care what state you live in. So go get a private doctor and literally refute what the CNP examiner said. Get medical evidence. Get good medical evidence that supports your disability. And if you need to refute a CNP examiner's evidence, go do that. This all boils down to private doctors in most cases, because VA doctors suck. Not all VA doctors suck, just the vast majority of them. If you have one that's good, use them. If you're finding resistance up front, like they're going to suck, spoiler alert, I'll tell you how it's going to end. They're going to continue to suck. Try to get another VA doctor. If that's going to take 5 months and you need to deal with the patient advocate and all this bullshit drama, just go outside into the real world and go get a real doctor to give you a real diagnosis. Real doctors in the real world, in my experience, they actually like veterans. When they were 21 or whatever and their parents had some money or whatever the deal was, they were able to go off to med school while we were at war and serving our country and all that kind of stuff. So you'll be surprised how much it changes from VA doctors to private doctors. Let me jump in here real quick and tell you about my boot camp. If you want to learn more about the VA claims process, check out my boot camp. You can talk to me live. There's a link on the website and in the description, combatcraig.com. And also, if you need medical evidence like a nexus or documenting your symptoms properly, go to our website, combatcraig.com, and it says medteam/nexus letters. Click on that link, fill out the form, boom, you're done.